Welcome to another episode of Kiss My Assets.
The transparency, the openness, the communication is more than you could expect. I'm sold.
Don't let the fact that you don't know something or don't know enough about something hold you back.
I knew I wanted to invest. What better way to invest than to invest in what I already know that I love, which is real estate.
It was initially the 12% return, but it quickly turned into the people.
All right, welcome to another episode of Kiss My Assets, and we have Chris Lacoste with us today.
Morning.
Morning. Our resident Canadian, but is now a U.S. citizen. So, are you a dual citizen?
I am.
Okay,
Yeah, it's great.
so you're still Canadian.
Yeah, I have both passports, so I pick and choose which one I travel with based on conveniences.
So, wanted to have Chris in here today because we have some great progress that's happening at Broadway. We are just recently launched our renovation update video that's either coming out today or tomorrow on Broadway, and we showed all the renovation or all the demo that took place at the property. Can you kind of tell us what we were doing there? Because we showed some before and after videos. The before videos have all walls up, then the after videos it's all gone. So what was that all about?
Right. So the main building, the 764 building, that's the building that Dunkin' Donuts is going to be moving into. Its combined space is right around 4,800 square feet. So we're finally at a point where we were able to get in there and do the interior demo to blow out all those interior walls and start getting ready for our heavy construction to get the space built out for Dunkin'. At this point with the city, we're basically on the 1 yard line. We've had a lot more revisions than we would have expected, but that's just kind of the issue that a lot of developers are having with the city right now.
And this is before we can start the construction and renovation to start building out everything for Dunkin' and the other tenant, correct?
That's exactly right. Yeah. So that the heavy demolition of the 722 building,
which we're going to remove.
Yeah, that can happen in the next few weeks. But the actual construction of the property to be built for Dunkin' Donuts, we're waiting on those permits. You know, and it sometimes feel like it's been a long time, but when you actually look back, we closed on the property 9 months ago.
Yeah.
We're now we have drive-through use permit in hand, and we have our site plan approved. But really, at this stage, it's just with the city's working from home. It's been a really long process. So the way it used to work was, if there were issues, I would walk into City Hall, into the planning office, set up a meeting, and I would have a meeting with the 6 different departments, fire department, traffic division, building safety, et cetera, would all be there. And then if there were issues with the plans, we would hammer it all out then.
That's great. You have everyone at the table.
They say, we can agree to this, we agree to that. And then you go back, you make the changes, and everything's good. Now, with everyone working from home, you essentially are doing it one department at a time. And there's no longer an option to really go. Yeah. So it can definitely drag on. It's something that all developers are experiencing in every market, but unfortunately for us, Tempe is sort of one of the notorious ones right now for being a little bit slower.
Yeah, we're not the only ones that are having these pain points in Tempe. I know a couple folks that have also mentioned similar things on projects that had a lot of support, that make a lot of sense, and they're just, the wheels are grinding very slowly, that's a great example of the inefficiency of working from home. Sometimes you need to just all get in around a table and make some decisions and have everyone there with their input, and it's very difficult to do that unless you do like a Zoom, call. But so let's kind of review a little bit. You mentioned we did secure the drive-through permit, which is a big one. That was a big one to get over the line, because this property was just a retail with no drive-through. So people would just have to pull up, walk in. I think before we purchased the property, there was a mattress store there. I think maybe a cigar store, that kind of retail. And it changes things dramatically, adding a drive-through when you're looking at value, when you're looking at the types of tenants you can bring in our case, Dunkin' Donuts, that type of tenant that can come in now that there's a drive-through. And that's the cool thing about what we do is we're going and buying a building that was in a great location but had some problems with it. We're dealing with all the stress and the anxiety of making it, dealing with the city to make it the way, to its highest potential. But we got the drive-through permit, and then you said the site plan permit or site plan has been approved for the most almost completely.
That site plan is approved. Drive-through use permit is approved. And the drive-through use permit, we knew that was going to be our biggest hurdle. We always knew it was going to be approved, but there's a lot of steps. There's a public review where the neighborhood can come and voice their opinion. Sometimes it's opposition, might not be. But
And we didn't see that.
we had zero opposition.
Okay.
I think everyone was excited to have a solid tenant coming in there.
Yeah.
But so, that wasn't necessarily a surprise that it was going to take some legwork and some time to get that done. We assumed that. I think, some of the minutia on the building plans right now that we're dealing with, again, we know we're going to get approval. It's just taking a little longer than we would typically see just with how the city's working right now.
So when we get this over the line, this final permit, then what are the next kind of big milestones over the next 6 months for us for Broadway?
Sure. So step one is going to be the demolition of the 722 building, which should happen in the next few weeks.
And that makes room for the 2-lane drive-through.
That's exactly right. And then it'll be full-blown construction at that point, construction fence up. We'll have our GC in, starting the build-out for Dunkin' Donuts. We expect maybe about 4 months for that time. And the contractor for Dunkin' Donuts that's doing their interior build-out is going to work hand in hand with our GC as well, just to keep things speeding along and make sure there's no unnecessary delays in terms of getting things completed.
So there's a different GC for the build-out for Dunkin'. They're using
Right.
their own?
Yes.
Their
yeah,
own
their own.
GC that probably they work with a lot, I would assume.
That's exactly right. So we're doing our share of the landlord's work, essentially the shell and some other minor things.
Some of
and
the
then-
infrastructure.
Mhm. And then the finishing, which, they have done hundreds of these Dunkins, so they know
Yeah.
all the materials, and it's just a faster, more efficient way of doing it.
Yep.
So that'll be the next step. And during that process, we're going to start pushing hard on the leasing of the remaining vacant space. Once the construction fence is up, the 722 building is gone, and people get a better idea of how it's going to look. So those are kind of the next two big steps, is getting full-blown construction started and pushing hard on the marketing of the vacant space.
And we have already a tenant in place, Burger Rush. I ate there a couple weeks ago demo day. Everyone was there for lunch and did all the work, and then had lunch next door. Great burgers, great shakes. The shakes are pretty big. Just warning you. If you get the large shake, it's a big boy. But we have that tenant. They're doing great. The great thing from an investor standpoint is that tenant provides cash flow, because to help us to cover our current mortgage. So the property is not just sitting idle as this is going on, and that's been a really vital part of this, is our mortgage is getting paid from this tenant. Now we add 2 tenants, Dunkin', as they come in over the summer, late summer, early fall. Once that renovation's done, the construction's done, and then now we'll have a 3rd tenant. So just as you can, conceptualize from a high level, one tenant covers the mortgage, then the other tenants, that's the gravy and the upside. And then once we have this all done, Duncan's moved in there, we have a 3rd tenant in place, either have moved in. What are we looking at as far as sales window? You can, I know you can sell these early, and you can kind of sell these late. Obviously our plan is, once this is in place, then we will sell it to someone who just wants the cash flow. So we go in and do this hard work, pass it off to somebody who just wants kind of a coupon of the cash flow. So what's kind of the early time frame? What's the optimal time frame, and what's the latest time frame on that sales?
I mean, from an early standpoint, all the feedback I've had from brokers that are already reaching out is that it's so unique to have 2 drive-throughs on a property this size. So there's a huge amount of buyer demand. I mean, we could sell it today if we wanted to, but in order to maximize value, we're going to want to get further along in construction, get the lease signed with the next tenant.
Yeah, why is that? The buyer then just sees that it's happened. So right now
Yeah.
it's planned, it's approved, but the further down the line we get, a buyer gets more comfortable with it.
Exactly, and get a little bit more competitive in terms of other buyers looking at it. But that's a really huge advantage, is being able to say 2 drive-throughs. As everyone knows, drive-throughs are by far the hottest thing in retail.
Yep.
So having 2 of those on a property of this size is a huge asset.
And when you say 2, both tenants won't have access to the drive-through. It'll just be Dunkin', but there's 2 lanes.
So it's it's Dunkin', and then Burger Rush also has a drive-through.
Oh, that's
so
true.
You have just
yeah,
2 separate drive-throughs.
So then the third tenant, they won't have a drive-through.
They won't. They'll have a shared patio with Dunkin', which is another kind of really nice asset to have. But they won't be a drive-through use. And we're still trying to figure out what's ultimately, we can pick and choose what use is going to go in there. We can definitely do another food use, which is nice. That's one of the things we pushed hard for in the planning process with the city, was to allow us to do another food use. The only reason we wouldn't be allowed would be sometimes cities have parking requirements that are pretty stringent that we wouldn't be able to satisfy with multiple restaurants. But for us, Adaptive Reuse Project, we qualify. We can put a food use in there. But there's other service retail uses, considering that the apartments, those 324 units right across the street, there's a lot more density there now. So whether it's a nail salon or an insurance office, there's all kinds of other uses that could go in there as well.
Yeah. And just to look back a little bit, when we bought this building, the apartments that are now across the street that are all look almost completed. I think they're leasing now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful building. The rents on those are going to be pretty high, but that did not exist when we bought this building. It was dirt, and they hadn't started anything. And so the neighborhood has changed dramatically. This is exactly what we look for in these kind of up and coming neighborhoods, where we can go in and buy before we get the big upswing. And I think we're going to see that when we go to sell this building.
Absolutely.
We're going to see a really nice pop in the purchase price from to sell. There's a lot of work in between that we're engaged in right now, but the neighborhood's definitely changed a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it'll be a fun next 6 months. Chris has committed that I get to drive some of the bulldozer through the next building, and I basically bring that up every time just so no one forgets it, because when do you have the opportunity to do that?
Of
and
course.
then and John's kind of already pulling back on that a little bit and just saying, hey, we don't have time for this photo op, but we're gonna make it happen. But he'll probably schedule at a time where he knows I'm out of town or something. So that's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun to see the Dunkin' property come to life, and we have the rendering we look at all the time, and we know what it's going to look like. But when it comes to life, it's really fun.
Well, it was really exciting to be on site and actually personally start swinging hammers. And start taking out some of those interior walls, because
Did you take out some of that pent up anger waiting for the city on
absolutely.
the walls?
I might have punched a couple holes in the wall. But it's just when you can actually see a visible difference in the property, it's so much more rewarding than just getting plans approved and use permits approved, which is all great, but it's not something you'd see. So once it's a visual before and after, it starts to really come to life, and it's nice.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. All right, we'll look for the next update, and it'll be an exciting summer.
Sounds good.